It was a calm autumn night in one of Long Island's most exclusive neighborhoods. The kind of night where the silence feels too perfect. Inside a mansion on Middle Lane, millionaire financier Ted Ammon was home. The alarm system was off. The house was quiet. Nothing seemed out of place. By morning, everything had changed. Ted Ammon was found dead, naked, beaten, and alone in his bedroom. His skull fractured. No signs of forced entry. No alarms triggered. Just a brutal end to a man whose life had been defined by brilliance, ambition, and wealth. But this wasn't just a murder. It was a betrayal. And the truth behind it would unravel a story darker than anyone imagined. Ted Ammon was born in Pittsburgh in 1949. Raised in a modest but intellectually rich household, his mother Betty pushed him to dream bigger. Ted's talents emerged early. He could reproduce piano melodies after hearing them once. He excelled in school, sports, and leadership. He was charismatic, confident, and destined for greatness. After graduating from Bucknell University, Ted joined Bank of America's executive training program. He was so driven that he passed the New York bar exam without ever attending law school, a feat that stunned even seasoned professionals. In 1984, Ted joined KKR, one of the most powerful private equity firms of the decade. He quickly earned a reputation for his rapid-fire deal-making and strategic brilliance. Among his most famous transactions was the $31 billion leveraged buyout of RJR Nabisco, a corporate war immortalized in the book Barbarians at the Gate. Ted wasn't just successful, he was iconic. But even titans have hearts. Ted's first marriage to Randy Day had been built on mutual ambition. They lived abroad, built careers, and returned to New York with dreams of a powerful future. But the long hours and constant travel eroded their bond. After a decade, Randy filed for divorce. Ted was devastated, but he didn't stop. He poured himself into work, launching ventures like Big Flower Press and Chancery Lane Capital. Then came Jean Rosa. She was everything Ted wasn't: artistic, impulsive, emotionally volatile. Born in California, Jean Rosa had survived a chaotic childhood. Her mother, Mary, was suspected of bipolar disorder and lived a life of instability and indulgence. Jean Rosa never knew her biological father, an Italian sailor who vanished after a brief affair. She grew up fending for herself, shaped by neglect and driven by a hunger for recognition. Jean Rosa moved to New York to pursue art but found success in real estate. She was sharp, seductive, and fiercely ambitious. When she met Ted during a missed apartment viewing, sparks flew. Within a month, they were living together. Within a year, they were married. At first, their life was glamorous. Ted supported her passions, even opening a photography studio for her. They hosted lavish parties, mingled with New York's elite, and built a stunning estate in East Hampton. In 1992, unable to conceive, they adopted 2-year-old twins from Ukraine, Greg and Alexa. Ted was now a father, a husband, and a multimillionaire. Life seemed perfect. But inside the mansion, cracks were forming. Jenna Rosa's temper was explosive. She was jealous, controlling, and increasingly paranoid. She monitored Ted's phone calls, read his emails, and accused him of affairs, sometimes with no evidence at all. She compared him to wealthier men, mocked his success, and refused therapy. Ted, once patient, began to break. By the late 1990s, he confided in friends about divorce. Their marriage had become toxic. In 1999, they moved to Surrey, England, hoping for a fresh start. But the distance only deepened the divide. Ted commuted weekly to New York. Jean Rosa grew more suspicious. When she found a divorce lawyer's invoice on his desk, she snapped. She hired private investigators and accused Ted of fathering a child with a glamorous investment banker. The claim was never proven. In 2000, Jean Rosa filed for divorce. She demanded half of Ted's fortune, valuing it at $300 million, though his actual net worth was closer to $100 million. The legal battle was vicious. She manipulated the children, made visitation difficult, and challenged every financial detail. Ted fought back, revealing his true assets and cutting off support. But Jean Rosa wanted more. Then came Daniel Pelosi. He was a contractor working on her Manhattan townhouse. Unlicensed, rough around the edges, and 7 years younger than Jean Rosa. Ted disliked him immediately. Daniel had a criminal record, assault, theft, harassment, and a history of substance abuse. He was in the middle of a divorce and had 3 children of his own. But Jean Rosa was drawn to him. She flaunted the relationship, perhaps to provoke Ted. But Ted wasn't just jealous. He was afraid. Daniel was now living in Ted's townhouse, driving a Porsche and spending time with Greg and Alexa. Ted saw him as a threat. And he was right to be concerned. Because soon, Ted would be dead.